All right. Boom. Good morning. Hello, Berlin. Hello, world. Hello, live stream. Alexis here. It's relatively early, as you can probably notice in my voice. It's, what's it, 6 a.m. I just got back from a really nice run through the park next to me. I got up at about an hour ago at 5 because I want to get the day going, and I was actually came out and got out of bed pretty well, and put on my shoes, put on my sweatpants, and put on my hoodie, nice and cozy, and just opened the door, ran out, and just started. I started slow, just like a little trot of basically jogging, and then over like 20 minutes or so, it wasn't long. I actually went one round around the park, and there was no one in the park. It was completely empty, and lots of birds. I wasn't alone, actually. There were so many birds, and the fresh air was just in my face, and I really like how especially in the morning, I started out slow and really sort of sleepy because I just gotten out of bed, and then I've started to really accept that and embrace the fact that I'll start at a slow trot, but I'm out there. That's like the main part, right? And then just now, with every minute, my movements became less and less stiff, and out of sudden, it became more and more of a fluid motion until towards the end, when I when I got into that flow state, just a little flow, not like a marathon flow, but for me, it's my flow. I can have it whenever I want, and then it just like feels so great, and I felt really really excited, and I do these runs in the morning, so I sort of start my day at a higher level of energy, and sort of get amped up and start my batteries, refill my batteries. So that's where I'm coming from. And the first thing, in fact, right after I had my coffee, after that, was I wanted to publish a story for you. And so my story for today for you is something that happened yesterday. I had in Germany, and I decided that I would be working for a good part of the day on my own project. I've mentioned that before. I'm in the last days of a 30-day sort of bootstrap a business challenge, which has been amazing. I love it, and now the last week is finally everything is coming together. Everything is falling into place, and yet there's a lot to do. So I didn't want to fall behind, and which I haven't, which is great. But yesterday, I also decided, okay, I could either go to the park or and hang out and just see friends, or I could just work really hard on my project and make sure that I wanted to really I want to finish this challenge on a high note. I want to really get as much out of it as I can. And I'll get to that maybe in a little bit. But so yesterday I was at home. I have my target was to wrap up one big chunk of work, and things were actually going well for most of the morning. I was just plowing through work, and I wasn't even thinking. I was just like, okay, once moving forward, just like jogging, moving forward, and it worked. And then around noon, I stopped. I made myself some food. I ate, and it was really really yummy. And then and it was light food, so I felt like I could continue working. And then in the afternoon, around maybe 1 or so, things started to not work. So I had some technical issues, and I had mostly technical issues, and I got out of nowhere, and I got so frustrated. I don't know. I don't know why, but for some reason, when I couldn't continue that flow, whenever I pushed the technology, my laptop actually crapped out a few times, and I got really upset, and I got really frustrated, and I didn't even know this until I talked with my girlfriend on the phone for making plans for later. that I was really, really stressed out and really off and really frustrated. And she's fantastic because when we got on the phone, she's trying to have a normal conversation of just planning, and I'm like, oh, but yeah, I have to do this, and then that, and so this isn't working, and I'm super frustrated, and blah blah blah, and she was really cool. I appreciate how she handled me, because only then did I realize I should stop, and I wasn't in a good place of making any good progress on my work anymore, and that I had passed the threshold of productivity and happiness, really, right? And so that phone call in the afternoon really just like made me aware how exhausted I was, probably mentally, and not just from that one day or that one morning of working, but also 30 days before, of keeping up on a very intense course. And although I even noticed it, I was here in this apartment, and I just couldn't get over it. I got more after the phone call. I got even more in my head. I was like, why am I frustrated? Why can't I be perfect? And why can't I be, what's wrong with me? So I've had these thoughts once in a while, but yesterday I had this really strong feeling of, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why can't I just be better? And it got really dark really quickly for me, which wasn't fun. And I was still here. I was on my couch, and I was like, fuck this isn't working. I'm not working. My brain isn't working, and I don't amount to anything. And I had all these like really, really, really sad and bad thoughts. And then I was about to, or I was going to go to see friends in the park in the afternoon, including my girlfriend. That was part of the plan that we made. And I was sitting here. I was like, I don't want to see anyone. I just wanna not be out there. And I was really, even thinking about it, I felt so low, and I guess it was like emotionally low. It was physically, I was pretty low, and mentally anyways. And so great. And even though I was aware of it and everything, I just didn't know what to do. And what happened then was, I decided, okay, you know what, I should probably go outside, because I had been in this room the whole day and working. And here's what happened. This was so crazy. So just remember, I'm like in this really deep, dark zone of self-loathing and dissatisfaction. And I take my bike, and I put on my shoes. I take my bike. I open the door. I push my bike out the door. I push open the front door of our house, and I get on my bike. I'm outside now. And in like a split second, my whole mood changed. It was amazing. I felt so much better. I felt like a whole, like weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And I rode my bike through our street here, and I rode it casually, really relaxedly. I took it to the park. And on my way to the park, where I was going to meet my friends, I had snapped out of my head spinning, all up in my head, negative self-talk space in seconds. It was unreal, and it was so noticeable. I felt like a different person. And on that bike ride, I started thinking, yeah, man, I started to become aware of how much work I had done in the last month, and even just yesterday, how much during the day I had achieved, and how much had worked out, and it was really, and I felt once I got to the park, I was like, I'm ready for friends. I'm ready to hang out. I'm so excited to actually see people. Whereas when I was here on my couch like 20 minutes earlier, I was like, I don't want to see anyone. I'm not able to deal with people or anyone right now. So It was unreal, and what was beautiful is once I got to the park, I met up with my girlfriend and a few of her friends, and I was actually amped up at this point. I was like, this feels so great. This feels so great. I feel great. I feel I love that I'm not feeling the way I felt on my couch 30 minutes earlier. So I was like so excited, and I called a friend who lives around the corner, but I was just like, hey, friend, listen, I'm in the park. You live around the corner. If you're around, let me know. Um, and I'd love to hang out with you. Maybe grab a beer or whatever. And he wasn't. I just got his voicemail, and 20 minutes later, he calls, "Hey man, I'm literally in front of the beer garden where you're hanging out. I'm actually seeing you." He said, "I can see you from where he was standing." I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And mind you, why is this amazing? Is because he usually is never in town. It was like a long shot for me. I was just excited to tell him, "Hey man, I'm around the corner," but I expected him not to be around. I expect him to be out of town, as he always is. It turns out he was literally 5 feet away from me, and this was sort of like the cherry on top of us. I was like, okay, changing my environment, getting out of my head by getting out of my home was the only and best thing I could do. And so I guess like what I learned from this, not only did I get out of the house or I got out of my head, but I realized how important sometimes changing your environment is, and how important it is, and it's not easy. And I think this is really, I always try to embrace, like sort of give my brain a hug when I know, it's really hard for the brain to do something challenging, like moving from one place to another. It's a lot of willpower. It requires willpower to not just stay on the couch or not just say, I want to go. But I want to encourage you, if you're ever, or if you're today, if you're not feeling the way you want to feel, change your environment, switch a room. So if you're in the office and you're in your, let's say in your office or in your home, and you're not moving along, you're hitting a wall, try to create a new environment for you. Maybe it's just literally going into the next room, or step out of the building for a moment, or go to the park if you can, or but I think there's something about the physicality of it that makes a difference, as opposed to just only thinking mentally, getting out of your head. I don't think it's possible, actually. And I mean, at least yesterday, it wasn't possible for me to get out of my head by thinking differently. I actually had to get out of my house to experience life differently. So that's my story for today. I hope you had fun. I will continue having my morning coffee, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye. Cheers.